The ash still hung in the air like a gray shroud over the meadow when Lyra first heard the keening. She had been checking the hives, those miraculous structures of earthborn bees that had adapted to Viridian 7's alien flora better than anyone had predicted. The hexagonal combs now dripped with nectar from the native starbloom flowers, creating a honey that shimmered with bioluminescent flecks. It was this honey that had made her small apiary famous across 3 sectors, drawing merchants and scientists alike to this remote world at the edge of human expansion. But today, the meadow where those starbloom flowers had once carpeted the ground in waves of purple and gold lay charred and broken. The keening came again, a sound like wind through broken glass, threaded with something that tugged at the most primal parts of Lyra's heart. She turned slowly, her protective veil still hanging around her shoulders, and saw them. 2 dragons, hatchlings no bigger than large dogs, stumbling through the blackened grass toward her hives. Their scales, which should have gleamed like polished gemstones in Viridian's twin suns, were dulled by soot and smoke damage. One dragged a wing that hung at an unnatural angle, the delicate membrane torn and bleeding a liquid that sparkled like molten copper. The other moved on 3 legs, cradling a 4th against its chest. Lyra had seen dragons before. Everyone in this sector had. They were one of the galaxy's protected species, sentient, ancient, and tragic. The Draconis Stellaris had once ruled a civilization that spanned 100 worlds. Then came the Harvesters, a machine race that had swept through dragon space like a plague, strip mining their worlds for the rare earth elements that dragon biology concentrated in their bones and organs. Humanity had arrived too late to save the dragon civilization. They'd driven back the Harvesters, yes, but by then the dragons were refugees in their own galaxy, scattered, broken, dying. These hatchlings shouldn't have been here at all. Viridian 7 was a human colony world, remote and agricultural. There were no dragon settlements for a dozen light years. The hatchlings keened again, and Lyra realized with a start that they were looking at her hives. Not with the predatory interest of creatures seeking food, but with something else in their large, multifaceted eyes. Something that looked almost like hope. She knelt slowly, making herself small and unthreatening. "Hey there," she said softly, her voice barely above a whisper. "You're hurt. Let me help." The less injured hatchling, if either could be called less injured, took a tentative step forward. Its scales rippled with colors that Lyra's translator implant struggled to interpret. Fear, pain, and underneath it all, a desperate pleading that needed no translation. Then she understood. The hatchlings weren't looking at her hives. They were looking at her bees. The insects buzzed around the meadow in their usual patterns, unperturbed by the destruction. They danced in the air currents, their movements speaking a language older than human civilization, older perhaps than the dragons themselves, a language of cooperation, of community, of healing and building and renewal. Lyra's throat tightened as pieces fell into place. The burned meadow, the injured hatchlings. She pulled out her scanner and ran it over the nearest patch of destroyed ground. The readings made her stomach turn. Harvester drones. Small ones, probably scouts, but harvesters nonetheless. They'd been here, burning the meadow not for agriculture or land clearing, but searching, scanning, looking for the rare earth signature that would indicate dragon presence. "Oh, little ones," Lyra whispered, her eyes stinging. "You were hiding here, weren't you?" And when they burned the meadow, the hatchlings' parents had hidden them here, camouflaged among the alien flora that grew thick in this valley. But the harvesters had burned it all, flushing out any potential dragon signatures. The hatchlings had survived, barely. But their parents and Lyra didn't need to finish that thought. The hatchling's scales flickered with new colors, her implant translated clearly. Alone. Lost. Orphaned. They had come to her bees because some instinct told them that where there were bees, there was healing. Where there was cooperation between species, there was hope. Humanity had saved the dragons once before, driving back the harvesters. Perhaps these hatchlings, in their young wisdom, believed humanity might save them again. Lyra stood and walked slowly toward her workshop, keeping her movements steady and calm. The hatchlings followed, their eyes never leaving her. She gathered supplies, medical gel designed for exotic biology, nutrient paste, soft blankets woven from starbloom fiber. Then she did something that would change everything. She activated her long-range transmitter and sent a message that would ripple across the sector. 2 orphaned dragon hatchlings found on Viridian 7, harvesters active in the region, requesting immediate support from the Draconis Preservation Initiative and Human Naval Protection. As she tended to the hatchlings' wounds, her bees continued their eternal dance around the ruined meadow. They landed on the hatchlings' scales, not stinging, but walking across the damaged surfaces. Where they walked, they left traces of their special honey, the bioluminescent kind that Viridian scientists had discovered had remarkable healing properties. The hatchling's scales began to brighten ever so slightly. "You came to the right place," Lyra murmured, carefully splinting the broken wing. "Humans and bees, we've been partners for thousands of years. We know about rebuilding. We know about taking something broken and making it whole again." She looked out at her meadow, scarred but not destroyed. The starbloom roots ran deep. They would grow again. The bees would return, and she would make sure these hatchlings lived to see it. "We saved your people once," she told them, her voice thick with emotion. "And we'll keep saving you, as many times as it takes, because that's what we do. Humans don't give up. Not on our bees, not on our friends, and not on you." The hatchlings pressed against her legs, their scales warming in the afternoon light. Above them her bees danced and sang their ancient song of renewal. And for the first time since the burning, hope bloomed in the ashes.